So my name is Charlot, but everybody calls me Charlie. And I'm going to talk a little bit about a new version for FlexForm that we just released, version 2.1, and it has some exciting features. And actually, I was really that presentation of Simon was really a really nice presentation. And Simon, we need to have a chat again soon, and I'll show you why. And just a really quick reminder, I show this page basically every time, but so FlexForm is just an extension that allows you to create forms and then do something with the forms, like create a page or edit a page or upload a file, send an email, all those kind of things, and some more, as I'm going to show you now. And it's, if you're familiar with HTML5 forms, on top here you see an HTML5 example, and if you look at the FlexForm example, it's identical. So if you're familiar with HTML5 forms, there's like thousands of examples on the internet, so you should be able to get going with FlexForm. I'll just go to the developer log, and of course it shows up in a different window. Because here's where I already had all the information for the new version of FlexForm. So, and that's why I said we need to talk, Simon, because we added JSON schema support for FlexForm. As FlexForm is part of OpenCSP, OpenCSP uses the MCR slots, the multiple content slots, and we store the information in JSON there as well. So it would make sense that if the JSON information gets bigger and bigger or repetitive, and that's what I'm going to show you now, it would make sense to easily be able to edit that data. So that's what I've been working on. And of course, we supporting Pandoc now. Most hosting providers have a version of Pandoc installed, and if you do have that installed, you can use it to convert, for instance, Word documents to wiki pages. We also completely rewritten the way files are uploaded. Now you can basically upload as many files and as many different files, and everything that has to be that has to do with uploading, you can put it now in all in one form. We did some restyling for the instances and some other things, and you can. I'll put the link in the chat later on, so you can have a look there of what all the new stuff is and the changes. One of it, which one? This one I really like. It's an extension for FlexForm because FlexForm allows for extensions, and this is a PHP list extension, and it's a pretty simple one, but it allows for a form to do an extra option, and that is if somebody hasn't filled in a name and an email, and they consent, of course, you can actually just subscribe them to your PHP mailing list program if you're using PHP list. So, and it's now in the repo as well, so you can use that if you want to. Just thought I'd mention it. And for everything, I'll just click on one of these. For everything, there's documentation on the OpenCSP website, so you can, and there's examples and all those kind of things. So that would make life easy. And I just closed the browser, but I was done with that page anyways. And I'm going to pick out three. Drag that screen back in. I'm going to pick out three things I want to show you as a live demo. One of this is the JSON schema, the uploading the Word document, and the support for multiple upload types in one form. So let's start off with the JSON theme. So we stay in the same theme as what Simon was just talking about. The complete documentation is also on OpenCSP. I'm showing you some new instances, and there's documentation for the new instances as well. I'll just quickly show you that so I get that out of the way. And also this information shows how you can style them yourself or move the buttons around or change it in any way you see fit. So that's pretty neat, actually. Okay, so let's take the what Simon showed was like that goes really deep. This is a little bit more simpler. It's about we have JSON. How can FlexForm edit that for you? That's basically it. FlexForm supports editing JSON. It already works. There's a lot of examples on the OpenCSP website documentation, so you can have a look there. let's have a look at an example JSON data. So here's a simple JSON, and I'll just do an edit so it looks more like a JSON. So we got an object of persons and everyone and all of them. It's repetitive. It's first name, last name, street name, etc., etc., and it goes on. Okay, so it would be really nice if we could edit it, right? This, right? So I'll leave this open for a sec. Now, traditionally, if you would want to edit this, you would create a form, and then for every field that you have, first name, last name, street name, etc., you would render a field so that actually somebody could type something in there. And then you have an edit button saying, okay, I want to edit, let's say, where the first name is Donald, and let's edit the JSON there. Or you would add a new one. You can already do that with FlexForm. That's not something that's new in 2.1. But if we would create a scheme for this data, like a really simple scheme, like what Simon already showed. And actually, you can use IDs here as well. And if I'm not mistaken, you can also do inheritance here. But as I said, we need to talk, Simon. So it's a simple scheme, and I'll show you the source again. So because the scheme is just also just a JSON. But what we do here is we actually start to define what does that. We have a first name, we have a last name, a street name. So with that scheme, you define what that is. So it's a type of string. These two are like custom for FlexForm because I want to know what FlexForm should do with it. Well, it's an HTML element of input and type of text. And every other single thing that you can add to a normal FlexForm input tag here, like classes or placeholder or title, anything default HTML5, you can add that to the scheme as well. Now, if we, so here's everything defined. Basically, everything is the same. It's a type of string. It's an HTML input type of text. And the only difference I did here is the country. I made that a HTML element of a select box. And then these are the options for the select box. This is all a default JSON scheme, by the way. Is there a way we can make what presenting bigger is a question here? I can probably zoom in a bit if that makes sense. So basically, the data that we have here, we just define it in a scheme. And of course, that gives you a lot of good things. You got things defined. The scheme is the truth, basically. And if there's something wrong between the two, you get a message. And you can reuse the scheme plenty of other times. Like we have persons data here. This could be customers, but you could also have like visitors, a person data of visitors, and you can just reuse the scheme to render. So let's go back here. Now I'm going to zoom out a bit again because otherwise I don't know where I am. So let's bind those two together. So we just say we started a form. This is new in 2.1. We can give the title name of the scheme that we're going to use, which is, let me go back here. So the page name is persons data scheme simple. So that's what we say here. And the JSON type, you just tell FlexForm it's a title page. This could be also be URL or it could be text, and then this would be the whole JSON inside here. But if you just write this and do nothing else, you can see that FlexForm will render everything that's defined in the schema. So you got your placeholders, and then you could add some more information to the form here, like what should we do with this? Like, for instance, you need a submit button, otherwise you can't submit this form. And you tell FlexForm if it should edit something or add something to this page. Oh, by the way, here's the select box. So yeah, so this is really simple, but at least you can define your forms at forehand and then, repetitively use it. Now, what if we want to edit everything here? So we want to be able to edit this whole thing. Well, FlexForm has something that's called instances. So we can create a JSON scheme, and I'll show you that now, that starts with an instance. And then basically, this is the same as this scheme, except I enhanced it with some placeholders and classes. I don't have that here. But this is basically the same, but it's wrapped inside an instance. And you can have a look at the documentation for instances. It works with normal templates, but it also works with JSONs. And that's what we say here. I want to use a field in my form that's called my instance, and I want the format to be JSON. Normally it will be wiki text. So you can do this inside normal templates as well. So you have a template, and inside that template, you're calling the same a different template multiple times again. Then you can use instances. And for this purpose, it's perfect as well. Now, there's a little thing here, which is the default content. And as I said, FlexForm only renders forms. It never fills in any values. But with this, you can. This is the WS slots extension. And what I'm saying here is, give me from the main slot of the page person data, which is this page, the object persons, which is this one. So basically the instance will get everything that's in here. Now, if I would do this, but call it with persons data schema and not person data schema simple, this one's the simple, this one is the one with the instances, you get something different. So I'm calling it here now. And then you see that everything, and I need to zoom out a little bit so that you get like a good overview. There's no styling on this other than the normal instance stylings. But as you can see, all the data that's in here is now with actually basically one line, because I added this, but this is just for the, if you want to edit it as well, and a submit button, which is the button down here. But just one line will allow you to render everything what is defined in the scheme and filled with all the data that we have, and the select box here as well. And since we haven't added here, where I say, and you can find it in the documentation as well, this hasn't changed except that the format is JSON, but that's all not in 2.1. That was already there. So I'm saying I want to edit person's data, which again is this one. And this option is a JSON path. So basically I'm saying I want to use the person's object, which is this one. That's basically it. And using the form field, my instance. And that's defined here. And then it will render this. And if I would put George on top, and I would say save this, and I would then go back to the person's data and refresh it, you notice that George is now on top. So you can really simply, as long as your JSON data is, this is like a first implementation of the scheme. So as long as you keep it like this, or you have some, you can even go a couple of layers deeper, it should all work. But this is like a first set of tools to start rendering forms, like predefined forms in JSON schemes. So yeah, that's what you get here. I hope that's clear to everybody. I try to explain it as good as possible, because it's, as you can see with Simon's presentation, it's, you know, it's a lot to handle, and it opens up many doors. So yeah, so I try to keep this as simple as possible. So let's let me see, what time is it? Okay, let's hop on to the other thing I wanted to show, which is uploading a Word document and convert it to wiki page. So here's an example. As FlexForm is rendering plain HTML5, if you want to use files, you use this. That's what everyone that's creating an HTML5 form needs to do that. I could do it automatically, but I wanted to stick to HTML as close as possible. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating a form that only has one input type of file. It allows for multiple file uploads if you'd like. And then the target, I'm going to say that's going to be file name. I explained it up here a little bit. multiple means that you can upload more than one. Target will be the name of the new to create wiki page, because we have an action here of convert from, and since pandoc, that's what we're using in the background, can convert other things beside docx or Word documents to wiki text. You can use the other ones as well, but I'm just showing you the Word documents here. And what I'm doing here, it says page content, which is kind of weird, but I explained it in the documentation. Normally, if you would upload a file, you would upload the file, it would create a file page, and then the page content would be the content that would go on the file page. But since we're now converting a Word document to a wiki page, the page content is going to be the Word file. So what page content does now is, if it finds any images in the Word document, they will be uploaded as well, and then the content for those images will be on the file pages, and you define it here. So I'm saying here, this image belongs to, and then in square brackets, file name, and file name is going to be the name of the Word document that you're using. You could type in something else. You could hard define it like, this is my file, or this is my Word document, but you can also use the file that's being uploaded. And because we don't know it yet, because it hasn't been uploaded yet, you can use this. And then the last part is the comment, and this will show up in your contributions. So basically converted and uploaded from, and it will use the page name, which is this page. Makes it easy if you go into contributions and you look at the or you look at the history or whatever for the page, then you know where it comes from, where it was converted from. So let's grab a Word document. So I set up something like really simple. It's just, I just copied and paste something from the there it is, from the OpenCSP docs documentation. So I created a 2-page document. I made sure that I had some images. I had a table, some bullet points, some numbered bullet points here, and another image, yeah, and some the URLs that go outside, bold, and I think even italic and all those kind of things. I made sure that it's in there. So let's see what happens if we convert that. So let me just drag that file up here. So now it's in here, file name. So as I said here, target is going to be file name. So we should get a wiki page, which is called About FlexForm. So let's upload that. Okay, so it's done. File has been converted and uploaded. So let's have a look at the contributions. And sure enough, there's a page called About FlexForm, and converted and uploaded from the EMWCon Spring to the. So that's handy if you want to know where your things come from. And as you can see, it also added some images. So from the Word document that I just shown you, you can now see that this is what it creates when you convert it to a wiki text. So you get a nice index for every heading that you had. It supports the formatting of the text. It even gets the links correct, because this goes to, let me see, it goes to getting started. So external links work. There's the table. There's the numbered bullet points, and there's the normal bullet points, and we get another image. And so basically, if you don't have too crazy of Word documents, and you have a pretty new version of pandoc, there's a lot of things you can do. I don't have reference installed on this wiki, but if you have references inside your wiki, you can also, you get like a list of references at the bottom as well. That all works. So it's pretty neat. It works pretty solid, actually. And we use it for a lot of customers as well. Question, these pages on the wiki solution side require access login. Are they publicly? The ones I'm showing you now, I mean, you mean, Brian? No, this is my development website. You can't get on there. The documentation, so everything that I'm saying here that can be found on the OpenCSP website. If you go here and you go to documentation and go FlexForm, here's all the documentation, and you got the JSON part I just shown you. It's with a different example, but it shows you and explains you everything. So you can find everything here. So let's go back to the last one I had. Oh, and actually you could, as I said earlier, you could drag 5 files in here and it would upload all those 5 files and convert them. So let's go back here. Support for multiple upload types in one FlexForm. That's the last one I want to show you because it's pretty neat as well. I made like a simple thing here that I wanted to show you, that this is one form, one single FlexForm, where I have an ID that's always going to be a number. It asks for an email address. It asks for a signature, which is also a field that you can use inside FlexForm. It will upload files, and these files will be uploaded and they will be handled differently than the signature, and they will be handled differently than these files. And actually, the idea is create a case where, like you're a car insurance guy, and you want to have some pictures of the car accident close up, and you want to have some pictures of the environment. But of course, you want those pictures differently defined. So let's give this a go. So case ID, I'm going to call this 15. My email address is this one. And let me see if I can get some pictures. And I had this prepared, but let's see where they are. That's really nice. I had an EMWCon folder. Oh, there it is. And there's no pictures. Okay, I'll take these one. Never mind. So I'll just, don't mind the pictures. They're just for the purposes of, demonstration. As you can see, FlexForm also supports drop zones. So let's pick 2 others. I hope I'm not getting too weird of pictures here. Yeah, so what I'm saying now is I have a signature here. Let me just hop in back just to see if everything goes well. I have a signature. I want to upload these 2 files and do something different with them. I want to upload these 2 files and do something different with them. But what you could also do, because sometimes you're not allowed to store a signature because of privacy reasons, but you are allowed to store like a complete screenshot of what you're seeing here, including the signature, saying, seeing that the person giving the signature says that the pictures are not manipulated in any way. But what I'm doing here now, thanks, Brian. What I'm going to do here now is I'm going to upload everything that you see just with one form. So let's do that. And down it will create new pages. It will do a lot of things. But I just wanted to show you that it's actually pretty quick and easy to do this. And there's some converted, and these are big images. Don't forget that those are really big images. So it says thank you. So if I would go to my contributions here. So yeah, it created a couple of images, as you can see here. It's signature file. Let me have a look at that. And as you can see, it's a case image. It belongs to case 15. It's uploaded then and then. The type is of signature. Let me have a look at the source here. So it also added this on the file page of the image. It did the same with all the other images, defining them what they are, so you can actually see this was an environment picture. It's also a case image. And if you put that all together, you could actually just query that. And as you can see here, case 15 has damage images, those 2, environment image, that one, the signature, and actually the whole screenshot of the signature and all the images uploaded, and the cases. So you got like something you can use later on, saying, okay, but you signed this, you signed for these images you uploaded, but you did not store the signature itself. You can. I did that in this case, but you don't have to. So yeah, so that's the mod, and that's all. And I'm just going to show you the source for this as well. Although the source is a bit messy because I think I wanted to do it in tables, and I'm not very good at doing tables. So for me, this is messy. I don't really, I don't really like that. But basically, for every file upload, you say, okay, this file name is going to be a signature. Give it a random number. I want you to convert it to. Oh no, this is a signature. Sorry. Picture, random number, and then the file name. And this is going to be the content of the file page. So there's a lot of things, and everything is explained in the documentation. So you can create really powerful file upload forms. You can, well, as you can see, you can do a lot of things with that. You could have like 10 input fields of files, and all the files that are uploaded do different things. Like I did now, create different templates for the file pages and all those kind of things. So yeah, I think that's it. The only thing I had to show you was that's in the presentation still. Where's my presentation? Let me have a look. There it is. So if I would go one page back, the last thing I wanted to show you was that if you have any questions, there's a Discord channel, there's an Element channel, and there's the MediaWiki FlexForm talk page. So if you need to get in contact with us because you have questions or you want to know if something is possible, I'll put this in the Element chat. Let me see where that is, because I can't switch to the normal events chat on Hopin now because I would leave the thing. Okay, so I put that in the chat on Element. Okay, so common word input is great, and FlexForm can pull from any page. Yeah, you can. The examples I've shown you for the main content slot, but you could of course use different slots. Yes. So have one page that has the scheme, has the data, and the main content to show a form, for instance. You can do that. Yeah. Right. That was it for me.